Hi, it's me, and that's him, and we're the Sci-Fi Scholars.
My turn?
I guess so. That's
Okay.
normally how it works.
And we're talking Killjoys, Season 2.
So,
Starts off very similar to Season 1.
yeah, Davin's in trouble.
And them saving him. Or
Yes.
thinking they're saving him. He kind of saves himself.
They're trying to save him.
Well, they do end up saving him technically because once they get to the planet, or to Arkin, the moon, to save him, he's already broken out, but didn't know what he was going to do after that. Yeah. So they do technically save him.
And he still needs help.
But just not the way that they thought they were going to save him.
Yeah.
And then it goes into this awesome scene where they have to take Pre into... I know that's before they save him. But there's that in that first episode with Pre being the bartender being a bit more involved and him showing that he had a criminal past and him and John infiltrating these gangsters pretending to be a gay couple, which actually was quite amusing.
Well, Pre's acting pretty gay.
I'm pretty certain he's meant to be.
Although he also, I think he's more bi because he hits on chicks as
That's
well.
true. Good point.
Or he's just some on this
Either
on
way.
the fluidity chart thing. He's just really flirty with everything.
That's true. But it's just a really cool, like how they just play it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So that Dutch can do a thing in the back when they...
Yes.
And that's when they meet Clara and Alice.
Yes. Who are kind of a recurring character.
Well, you didn't see him again until the last episode.
So
I think there's going to be a lot... I think the
Season
reason...
1
We're
had
both talking now.
not much of Alvis or Pre and a bit of Porter. Season 2 has more of Alvis, more of Pre, more of Porter. So I think
That is,
Season 3
We'll have more of Clara.
and Alice. And
Alice.
less of Porter.
Yes. A lot less, probably. I don't even know if she'll show up at all.
Oh, I think she'll be mentioned a few times.
Yeah, but that's not showing up.
Memory? Is
Yeah,
that,
who knows what
they
they're
haven't
going to
done a time loop episode yet.
do. No, they haven't. But either way, I reckon the whole reason they did bring her back is because of how much... I read a couple of like forum stuff and how much people loved her character and were like, they have to bring her back.
And when they had her there, they really, really left it open for her to be brought back. It was...
And I reckon they did that deliberately to go, okay, let's see how much people like her, and then if they like her, bring her back. Because they had a lot going on, and they didn't want to... Obviously, they had a plan for the 10 episodes of Season 2, and they didn't want to get that plan too convoluted by bringing in yet another character, which I think was a smart move.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad to see her back, and in a specific way, which was kind of cool. It was the ending. I'm going to jump from episode 1 to episode 10 here.
Yep.
The ending being, was the last episode was a little bit of a letdown for me. Not so much in the character development. The character development was great. Seeing John go from, his Porter, who he's fallen in love with and had a relationship, just died. And they had to trank him to get him away from trying to save her, even though she was already dead. He then goes to he tricks Siri. Is that her name?
Suri.
No, that was in a different thing. Anyway, the chick.
The other Crashy.
Yeah, the Crashy royalty that's been basically, she's the one that kills her. Yeah. And just pretends to be Klein because she's in league with Klein, or thinks she's in league with Klein.
She's kind of working for Klein.
But then Klein had his own agenda.
Yes.
Either way. And then he just randomly rocks up and just says a few lines, then kills her. And he goes, I'm not a hero. I just loved it. And then, Lucy refusing to let him leave at the end. It's like, I'm leaving because this is going to bring down a whole heap of trouble on him, and he didn't want to bring that trouble on Dutch, which makes sense for his character.
But the last 4 episodes are literally Dutch.
Them hiding things from each other and then telling each other
every single episode is like, oh, I'll stop hiding stuff. Next episode, I hide stuff again. Next episode, I want... It got repetitive.
It did, but in this episode, I felt like for what he did...
Yeah, yes, but it would have been better if they hadn't done it 4 times already.
Yes, I totally agree with that.
So the way this one ended, because of the repetition in the previous episodes, felt a lot weaker than the ending of...
I agree.
But they've set up, so season 3, they can save John instead of Davin.
Oh, yes.
Or some other... it won't be saving Davin again.
They bring Clara back by Lucy contacting her and going, hey, because Lucy's pretty much in love with John. Yeah, there's that creepy moment where she's in a fembot or some sort on that moon asteroid thing that's actually a ship, where she gets all creepy and kisses him because she's wanted to do that.
Yeah, she said she'd never have the
opportunity again or something along those. Anyway,
she claims it's for scientific research because
which is obviously not true. The ship's in love with him.
Yeah, well,
and they have a relationship. You can tell.
It's very funny.
It is very funny, but it's funny how Lucy won't let him leave until he explains.
Has someone,
and then obviously calls up Clara and goes, I wanted you to
help out,
have someone so you weren't by yourself. Which I thought was cool. And John's my favourite character, as I said in the season 1 review, so I liked that kind of arc that he had going on and how he was off by himself a little bit with Porter trying to save Old Town and stuff like that, because they've set up these massive fences.
Walls. They call them walls.
They call them walls.
The wall. Yes.
Which is an interesting storyline.
They also do the whole thing with the green plasma ooze.
Yes.
And that being from the external race far outside the quad where Klein's from.
Yeah.
And it's basically taking over his people and making them semi-immortal and super powerful and stuff.
Yeah.
And eventually he sacrifices himself to poison
in the last episode
the ooze in the quad area to take out all the level 6s and stuff.
Oh yeah, the tree, because the tree's been hid by his daughter,
who looks like Dutch.
Yes, exactly like Dutch, like identical.
Genetic identical.
They basically be the same person.
Yeah.
Or if they're not the same person, but they're played by the same actor. But I just felt like that was a stupid idea.
The way they did it didn't seem right.
No, it just seemed totally not Klein's character.
Like, and none of the characters, like, yes, they made it super suspenseful, like rah 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 rah, but it didn't quite work.
And it was just that MacGuffin of, take out the tree, take out all the 6s. It's that annoying trope that you do use in sci-fi all the time.
It would have made sense for take out the tree, poison the thing, and like break the interconnectivity for them.
Yes.
If it's like the central server and everyone's message goes in and out, that would kind of make sense.
Yeah, but
it shouldn't be instantaneous like it.
Yeah, well, you watch Fancy. He went from being
regenerative and immortal
to then being, oh crap, I could die now because he gets shot.
But he's kind of happy about it.
No, yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like Fancy's character, but it was kind of just like, it just randomly went from them all being immortal to not being immortal, even though they still technically had the green ooze in them. It just all of a sudden just
turned off.
It was like a switch. So it was like, okay, it's turned from being what seemed to be an organic serum or such to this a technical based thing that was reliant on this tree.
Well,
which was kind of cool.
They're kind of claiming it's because the ooze itself is sentient, so if you kill the central mother brain or thing, like which
typical crap sci-fi again. Yeah. It's a trope that too many sci-fi shows use.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it in Independence Day Resurgence as well, and it just happens too often, and that's part of the reason why I didn't like the last episode. Or I did, but I didn't. It was one of those.
You liked John's half the episode, not Davin and.
Well, I liked them at getting into that central attacking that.
The bank thing that was
the bank
so
thing
cool.
Was cool. All of that. It was just that story arc of how they wanted to end the 6s and end Klein, which was a stupid idea.
It would have been better if they used more of the thing, because they already established Davin was immune to it and can force the green kind of out of people.
Yes,
it would have been cooler if they found a way to power Davin up more so that he could completely change people so that they personally just reject the stuff permanently.
That would have been a cooler idea because then it's less that typical trope.
But then again, it would have been the Force, which would have been but you can imagine because he kind of did that thing, he obviously made someone's brain explode and stuff. It would have been cool to see it. I guess it would be kind of seeming kind of mystical, but it would have been cool to have him somehow make the people around him immune to it, like a vaccination kind of a deal, something he can do to someone else that makes them immune, or if they've already got it, just reject it.
Or even it could have just been they stopped the tree, which then stopped them being able to make sixes in the quad.
Yeah.
But kept all the sixes that were sixes still sixes.
Yes.
Well, yes, they had that connectivity, but they didn't have, like, the ooze still did its thing.
Yeah.
Still made them regenerative, because it's not like they were getting top-ups that we saw, at least anyway.
Yeah.
So it could have been, and then you could explain it, Davin being around Fancy is why he ended up turning, like, Davin was able to get rid of the ooze without killing him, and then that turned him.
Yeah.
And something like that. So you could have used that. I mean, wasn't a huge fan of the whole Davin being able to control the ooze. I liked the immunity to it, and then Klein being incredibly interested by that. But then, the controlling thing was a little bit weird. And it kind of went from killing someone to being able to control it, like, quite quickly.
He's just very skilled. Like, as soon as he became a Killjoy, he was like a level 4. So, like, it tracks with his character.
A little bit.
He's just really good at things.
It was one of those things that I could overlook.
Yeah.
The cool thing about that tree was the whole Scarbacks with Elvis and their whole, what he thought was just a story, or not a story, but like a metaphor of sorts, was actually legit. Like 12 of the monks went off to fight the devil.
11
at the tree, and only 10 came back.
Yeah.
Or no, none came back, or whatever it was.
None of them returned, but 11 died and stuff.
Yeah.
So there was one still alive.
Yeah, but that was just cool how they had this whole mythology that actually turned out to be
history.
Not mythology at all. It was just a history.
Yeah, and they just didn't believe it.
Yeah, which I thought was really cool, and that's why they all cut themselves as a way to prove that they're not a 6, or they're not affected by the. And he was just like, "Wow, I had no idea that's why we did that."
Yeah, so,
which I thought was a really cool.
Yeah, so for Alvis, that storyline was really good.
Yeah, and I quite liked his character, so I thought that was a cool storyline for him. And I just love the interactions again.
Yeah, they
even like they expanded it more with Pre and Porter a bit more, like that.
And Porter's like a badass, like screwing over Joko that badly, but like putting basically she has a bomb collar on her and has to do an operation where she basically removes her bomb collar, attaches it to Joko's heart, and then just says, "Oh, by the way, I'm leaving."
And then he's like, "You can't." And then she's like,
"That
beeping's not from me." I was like, "That's pretty badass."
That I really, really liked. Maybe not that entire episode necessarily, but that part of that episode was is really memorable and really funny and really well done. And like I think each episode had like their own 1 or 2 moments that were just really good.
Yeah, while not like there was a few episodes that I can't remember which ones off the top, but I just remember enjoying him a little bit more.
Yeah.
But there was always, even though that last episode was a letdown for me, in that type of story arc, it wasn't. It might have just been because of how big they built it up before and how cool the rest of it was, like with the whole Scarback thing, like I said. So that's why it was a little bit of a letdown, because it was like, this is cool. They're going like and then went typical. Anyway, but every episode had at least 3 or 4 moments where I was laughing, like just like it was. They did
funny stuff.
I really laughed out loud, like liners that were quite cheesy, but in a good way. Like the way they delivered were just so good, and then the interactions between the team, whether they were fighting or whether they were on the same side and just interacting as friends, brothers and sisters, because they kind of John sees Dutch as a sister.
It's weird. So obviously, John and Davin are brothers.
Yeah.
John and Dutch see each other as siblings, but Davin and Dutch are like
have romantic
kind of dating, not dating.
Well, they're not really,
but they have for a bit. They have like a romantic history, but now Dutch is with Alvis and Davin's with Explodey chick.
Yeah, some random 6
who basically, was a setup.
Yeah,
it's messed up.
That was a messed up episode. Like the way they reveal he could control the goo inside someone was while he was having sex with her.
And it was accidental, and
it was a little bit like that was one of the low points. Not necessarily from finding that out, just in the fact that it was very...
The way they did it was very different to the rest of the series.
And it to me, like, they had a couple of moments where it was a little bit, like, leading towards sex and whatnot, but they had never had, like, a full-on. And this was, I'm like, wow, okay. Killjoys is turning into HBO here for a bit.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't show anything, but they showed as much as they possibly could without getting the
ratings up.
Yeah. And so hopefully they don't stick around with that too much.
Because it completely changes the feel of the show.
It did. It felt out of place for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, why are we still... Okay, we're still going. We're still going. Oh, that's why we're still going. Could have done that a different way.
Yeah.
It does make for like a character moment of his being like, crap.
Yes.
But, yeah. That's probably my low point for the season and series. And it was kind of at the same time, all three of them were getting busy.
Yeah.
It was just all of them at the same time.
It was the sex episode.
It was. I can't remember which episode that was now.
I reckon it was about episode 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It was
It
the
was
first
around,
half.
it was in the middle or something, like
Yeah.
more towards the start than the end, but yeah. It was that mid sort of section.
Yeah.
I reckon it might have been 5.
But overall, I'm pretty excited for the next season because they're
excited.
basically, Dutch and Davin think the three of them have declared war on the Holland, which is the Klein's people with the goo in them.
Yeah,
And
led by his daughter.
Alina or
Yeah,
something like that.
Alina. Yeah, Alina sounds right.
Anila. So led by Anila, and basically she's like, I'm gonna go save the entire galaxy and kill her, and then John's like, now screw this, I'm gonna go get revenge.
He gets revenge and then disappears on him, and I don't think they even know that he's disappeared yet.
No, that's going to be the big reveal to them at the beginning of the next season.
Yeah, probably.
Or actually, I have a feeling they're going to skip some time.
That's quite possible.
And then they'll
get the team back together straight away.
Maybe.
Because that's the biggest crutch of the show. Like, that's what draws me back. I would keep watching even if they didn't, because I still enjoy it, but I feel like a lot of people wouldn't keep watching if they don't bring him back, at least within the first 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And they'd kind of have to, because there's only 10 episodes again. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to season 3. Hopefully their visual effects get a bit better, because there's again some pretty terrible effects in season 2.
Yeah.
As much as I was loving that there was kind of like a space battle while they were in that vault.
Yeah.
While Lucy was outside, the physics of it just didn't look right. It was one ship against that plus 2 other ships, and there was just so much shooting that hit nothing.
Yes, because
there was like 50,000 shots taken, and I don't feel like I'm exaggerating.
There was a lot of gun batteries that were
just
trying to kill empty space.
It just and Lucy wasn't firing back. It was kind of cool because you got Lucy doing some cool things, and John not really piloting her, but at least putting input on it, and that was kind of cool. But it just seemed like way too much shots were being fired for what was getting hit.
Yeah.
And the visual effects weren't the greatest in that. Like, it was still enjoyable, and I can look past that. If they hadn't had so much guns shooting.
Yeah.
I would have probably and the physics didn't really feel right. I mean, yes, it was in space, but
yeah, it was a bit weird.
Anyway, but overall, very enjoyable season. That had
the next one.
A little bit of a letdown for me, but not. Oh god, that was terrible. No. It was just didn't quite live up to the hype that the previous episodes I felt were pushing it towards.
Yeah,
I felt like they went for this greatness, but then kind of went, oh, okay, we don't really have that good an idea, so we'll just. And the thing that saved it is the interactions and character development that they have, and the characters in it, which is what you want in a show. So
yeah.
I'm very excited for season 3.
Definitely going in a good way.
Hope you enjoyed Killjoys as much as we did, and our review as much. Thanks for watching.
And let us know what you thought in the comments below. See you next time.